Hi everyone, it's Dee here. In today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to make a granny square. I'm in the middle of making a top and I'm going to be using granny squares. And while working on my granny squares, I thought to myself, why not make a tutorial just for this part? Because as you can see, this granny square, this is the only tail I will have to weave in. So I'm going to teach you how I'm hiding my tails. And if you follow all the instructions that I'll be giving, this is what you will have at the end of it. All right, let's get started. I will be using a 4.25 millimeter hook, and this is a yarn I bought on sale. It's a 2 of 1's Color Theory. It's an all-season yarn. It is 100% acrylic and it's a size 4. It recommends a 5.5 millimeter hook. So I'm going to start with this color, and I'm going to start with a magic ring. And I will insert my hook, pull up a loop, chain 2, which does not count as a stitch. Then in this same ring, I'm going to make 3 double crochets. That is 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2. Back in that same ring, I'm going to make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2. We're doing that again in the same ring. I'm going to make 3 double crochets, and we're going to do this until we have 4 sets of 3 double crochets separated with a chain 2. So we now have a set of four sets of 3 double crochets. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, all separated with a chain 2. So once you get to the end here, you're going to pull this strand to close the ring, like so. And then to complete the row, we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch on top of the first double crochet. And this marks the end of row 1, like so. So we now have a total of 4 chain 2 spaces. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1. I'll get my scissors and cut the yarn. Make sure to leave a tail that's a little bit long. So remember, here we have 2 strands. Make sure that you pull this tight to close that ring. And we're now going to start row 2. So I'll get my second color. So with my second color, I'm going to make a slip knot. Again, leaving a tail that's about 3-4 inches. Leave a long tail that can be, weaved in. So this is what we have now, and what we're going to do is grab this strand and put it next to the last strand that we have here. So you have 2 of them, and we're going to insert a hook in this first chain 2 space and attach our new color. So we now have a total of 3 strands. Chain 2, which does not count as a stitch, yarn over, and in this same space we're going to make 3 double crochets. And when we do this, we're going to do our best to work over the strands. Okay, I hope it's clear enough for you guys. So pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through the last 2. Insert your hook again in that same space and make 2 double crochets for a total of 3, like so. So we have 3 double crochets in this space, chain 2 and make 3 more double crochets in that same space. Okay, so this is our first shell. A shell is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets all in the same space. After that, you're going to chain 1, and in the next chain 2 space we're going to make another shell. So you're going to chain 1, yarn over, insert your hook in the next chain 2 space, making sure that you have your strands with you, because we have to work over these strands for this row. Okay, so make your shell of 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 more double crochets in the same space. Chain 1. Some people don't like chaining 1 between their granny squares. I don't do that sometimes as well with when I'm working with this pattern. But either way, if you choose to not to do it, just make sure that you work over your strands. Okay, so we're making another shell in this space and working over our strands. Now we have 3 corners. This is our 4th corner. So chain 1, and in the next chain 2 space you're going to make another shell of 3 double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, chain 2 and make 3 more double crochets in that same space. Okay, this is what you should have. Chain 1, and then we're now going to slip stitch on top of the first double crochet, and this marks the end of row 2. So after row 2 I'm going to chain 1 because I'm going to change colors again leaving a long tail. Pull this tight. This is how your row 2 should look. So we're going back to this color. Make a slip knot, leaving a long tail. So you're going to insert your hook like so. You don't have to carry these anymore, so you can let them go. We now have a new strand here, so attach your yarn. Chain 2, which does not count as a stitch, and we now have these 2 strands that we're going to be working over. So in this first space you're going to make 3 double crochets. That's 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1, and you're now going to carry these tails along. Chain 1, and in the next chain 2 space you're going to make a shell of 3 double crochets. That's 2, 3, chain 2, make 3 more double crochets in the same space. Okay, so in this next space I need you to pay more attention because it's a little bit different. So you're going to chain 1, yarn over, and you're going to insert your hook under the worked over strands that we have from the previous row. So insert your hook under those strands. I hope it is clear enough. Okay, like this. Okay, you can see those strands from the previous row right there. Insert your hook under those strands while also holding on to the ones that we're working on at this point. Okay, so insert your hook like so and make your 3 double crochets in that space. You should have this. Chain 1. Remember to carry this along. In the next chain 2 space for this row, we're making a shell of 3 double crochets. Chain 2, 3 more double crochets in the same space. Chain 1. Again, when you get to this next space, you're going to insert your hook under the strands from the previous row. So insert your hook under those strands right there, pull up a loop and make your 3 double crochets. Chain 1, and in the next chain 2 space you're going to make a shell. So while working in the shells or around the corners, just don't mind about the strands from the previous row. You just have to get them on the next chain 1 space. Okay. Chain 1, and in the next chain 1 space you're going to insert your hook under the worked over strands again. And you're going to make your 3 double crochets in that space. Chain 1, and in the next chain 2 space we're going to make our shell. Chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch on top of the first stitch to complete the 3rd row. So at this point, this is how your work should be looking. On our next row, we're going to be hiding these strands that we just worked with on this row that we just completed. So when you look at the back, these are the first strands we worked with. Just pull them a little bit and make sure that everything is secure like so. So this is what you will have. Get your scissors and cut those strands. Okay, right there. And this is what you will have. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. For my next row, I'm going to continue with this same color, and I'm going to slip stitch twice until I get to the next chain one space. Right here, chain two, which does not count as a stitch, yarn over, and then you're going to insert your hook under the strands that we worked over. Like so. And then I'm going to make 3 double crochets in this chain one space. Chain one, make a shell in the next chain two space. In the chain two spaces, don't mind about the strands. Just make your shell. Then chain one, and in the next chain one space, that is where you don't want to miss those strands that you worked over. So insert your hook and make your 3 double crochets. Like so. Chain one, and in the next chain one space again, work over those strands, insert your hook under those strands, and make 3 double crochets. Just do your best to really hide them. Okay, chain one, make a shell, chain one, we work over those strands again, chain one, make 3 double crochets in the next space while working over the strands from previous row. Chain one, make your shell of 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all in the same space. I'm just going to keep going, guys, just repeating the same pattern. When you get to the end, chain one and slip stitch on top of the first double crochet. Chain one and cut. And this is what you will have. I find this to be better and faster than having to weave in your ends. So if you're still watching, let me know what you think of this method. I hope you find it helpful. Okay, so I'm going to do my last row. I need to make 2 more rows. So I'm going back to this color, make a slip knot. Chain 2, and in the same space make 3 double crochets, chain 1. We're going to work over these strands now, and in the next chain 1 space we make 3 double crochets. So for those who are new at making granny squares, what we're doing is making 3 double crochets in the chain 1 space and making a shell in the chain 2 space. I think it will be easier for you to understand it that way. Where we have a chain 1, we make 3 double crochets, and where we have a chain 2, we make 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all in the same space. So let's continue. In the next space I'm going to make a shell of 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 doubles, all in the same space. Okay, chain 1, and I'm going to continue with the pattern. I'm at the end of my row and I'm going to slip stitch on top of the first stitch. Then I'm going to make one more row and then I should be done. I'm going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches, and in the chain 1 space, chain 2, and make 3 double crochets in this first space while going under the strands from the previous row. Okay, so I had to pull this out because it was very short, and this is all the strands that I had to work over. So the next spaces don't have any strands for me to work over, so I'm just going to go in with my regular stitches, making my clusters and shell. Alright, and at the end I'm going to slip stitch on top of the first stitch, chain 1, and cut off the yarn, leaving a long tail. And this is how your square will look like. Okay, so if you were to make it longer, you just have to repeat the same process until you're done with your granny square. Yeah, and this last one is all you have to weave in, and that's it. If you found this video to be helpful, leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And we're all done. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.